This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both from Thunder Bay Theater, and they're here to talk about the next production, Macbeth. I have Molly Stricker and Erica Warner. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Molly, you're directing Macbeth.
I am, yeah. It's a show that I've actually worked on a couple times before. It's one of Shakespeare's latest works and probably one of his more famous ones. And it kind of just is about a soldier who gets a prophecy that he's going to be king and then goes about getting that in how we might say poor ways of just by killing a bunch of other people to get to power. So it's kind of dark and kind of spooky, but it's a really fun show to work on.
Mm-hmm. And you know, when I think about doing any Shakespeare production, you know, with the language and the blocking and the time and the period and the costumes and the messages, it's got to be hard to do it on a huge stage with a huge cast. How do you do that at Thunder Bay Theater?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We actually have, this is part of our Shakespeare project, which is just a hope to bring more Shakespeare plays to the community. And we're doing that by kind of scaling them down a little bit and making them a little bit more modern. So we don't have to worry about the period costumes and the big hoop skirts and things like that. So our production of Macbeth is set in kind of a more abstract place where we just use a lot of windows to create our walls. So it's not necessarily like a house or a castle or anything. And then we're using a lot of modern day music as well that will help us kind of tell the story, and a little bit of dancing and a little bit of movement in there as well.
Wow,
Yeah.
sounds exciting. So Erica, you're playing Macbeth.
I am.
Tell me about that.
It is a huge undertaking, but it has been amazing. I was really excited to get to work on it. It's the biggest Shakespeare role I've ever played, so that's been a great challenge, and there are so many lines, but I mean, Molly has been amazing at adding so much more into the story, so it's not just, you know, 3 hours of us just saying Shakespearean lines, but like she was saying, we do have the movement, we have dances, we have all of these amazing pieces within it to hopefully get the audience to understand it in different ways other than just interpreting the music or the lyrics.
So how much artistic license are you able to take?
A lot, which is really cool. So Shakespeare just gives us a couple of these people exit, or these people enter, or they fight, or so-and-so dies, as far as like stage directions in the script, and then the rest of it we can kind of do what we want with, which is why Shakespeare is so widely produced, is because it's an open book. It's just a story that we all can relate to in some way, and then we can take that story and make it whatever we want it to, which has been really cool.
Okay, so tell me who some of the other characters are.
Yeah, so we have Macbeth, and then we have Lady Macbeth, her wife. We have Banquo, who is Macbeth's best friend, and they're soldiers together, and they're kind of, for a while at least, all on one team. And then as Macbeth and Lady Macbeth begin to, like I said earlier, kill people and gain power, they start fighting against Malcolm and Donalbain, who are the past king's sons, so they're in line for the throne, and Macduff, who is ends up being Macbeth's greatest enemy at the end, and they have a big fight scene at the end of the play.
Okay, wow, how exciting.
Yeah.
So you said you're going to have some modern music. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we use a lot of hip-hop music, all written by female artists, which is really cool.
Yes.
And some more folk music and pop music. So some of them will be super familiar to audiences, especially younger audiences. And we do all different kinds of dancing to those. We have some little nods to like Michael Jackson's Thriller, as well as some more what's called stepping and tutting, which are more like drag queen inspired dances. And then we just do some more like movement things to our more folk music, which is really exciting. So we use Beyonce, we use the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, we use a band called First Aid Kit, a lot of different things.
Okay, so what kind of an audience do you think this is intended for?
I think especially young audiences will, not like young, but younger audiences will really love it because it is involving so many modern aspects. But I think it's really accessible to basically everyone besides maybe like little kids. They
Yeah.
probably would not love a show about a bunch of people being killed. But I think it's really accessible to everyone, and I am excited to see how audiences react because it is so different from any Shakespeare I've ever seen, at least.
So when can we come to Thunder Bay Theater to see Macbeth?
Yeah, so it opens November 1st, which is next Friday.
Yes.
And we have shows Friday and Saturday of next week at 7:30 and Sunday at 2. And then the next 2 weeks until November 17th, we have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 2.
So call, make your reservations, because if you don't, you may miss out.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're doing a little thing with the Downtown Development Authority.
We are, yeah. On November 13th, which is it's still a couple weeks away, we have an event called Bard at the Bar, which is basically a Shakespearean pub crawl. And we have different actors doing different Shakespeare scenes at different locations downtown. And with admission, you get drink tickets to each of those locations, and you basically travel around and see different Shakespearean scenes as you drink different drinks. It's really fun, and it's a way to kind of touch up on your Shakespeare, get a little bit more familiar with some other plays, and also have a fun time out with your friends.
And I know she said Downtown Scoops was going to be doing it also, so you can get a non-alcoholic beverage there if you choose.
Yep.
A hot chocolate or whatever. And I know that you did that last year too, and it was
did.
so much fun and such a great success. Everyone loved it. So I encourage everyone to, contact Thunder Bay Theater to find out about all the details of everything. And would it be on your Facebook page too? Or?
I believe so, and it'll be on the Downtown Development Authority's Facebook page
So
as well.
check it out. And one more time, when can we come to see Macbeth at Thunder Bay Theater?
Yep, November 1st through the 17th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7:30, and Sunday at 2.
Thank you both very much for being here, and it sounds like a wonderful production.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be right back following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is BJ Sander from Alpena Area Senior Citizen Center. Hi, BJ.
Hi, Nancy. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I think I told you before we started taping that I went and tried some of your homemade bread, and it was absolutely delicious. And then I bought a few of the Rada knives to start Christmas shopping. So it's more than just a congregate meal place. There's lots of good, exciting things that happen there.
Well, we're working on establishing a bakery at the Senior Center, so that's where the homemade bread comes into play. So then we started a fundraiser on top of that because our kitchen staff makes an amazing soup. So we started a fundraiser, so every week you can call and order based off of our menu a loaf of bread and a quart of soup. And you get both of those for only $12, and you pick those up on Friday, a perfect Friday night meal or even a Saturday or Sunday lunch, and it's wonderful, and you don't have to cook anything, you just warm it up, and it's delicious.
It is, and it's very, very good. I know some of my coworkers have tried it, and they said it's perfect. So I encourage everyone to call the Senior Center and get your soup and bread on Friday.
Yeah.
And you have different kinds of soup each week.
Every week there's a different type of soup. So what people need to know, though, is that you need to call no later than Wednesday afternoon, early Thursday, because we have to make sure that we get all that soup prepared for Friday.
Sounds wonderful. And you brought this really cool handout sheet. It says Knowledge is Power, and Did You Know? And it lists some of your programs and some of the things you do, but there's no way that on a two-sided sheet of paper you could tell about everything you do at
Right.
the Senior Center.
Right, so we did a presentation in September for National Senior Center Month because we feel that it's important that we let the community know exactly what takes place at the center. And it's amazing that every time I talk to somebody about it, they're like, well, we had no idea you do those things. So I would just want to go over a couple little points in each area.
Sure.
So we have many Alzheimer's programs. We have an early onset support group that meets once a month. We have a garden that's focusing on Alzheimer's people working in that garden. We have It Takes a Community, which we're going to kick off next month. Annie and I became certified dementia practitioners. We'll be going out into the community with this grant and working with businesses and organizations on how to work with people or how to identify someone that has Alzheimer's and how to approach those people. Empowered Movement, an amazing exercise program that we started at the Senior Center. I was just telling you that we've got 85 people in that exercise class that we do 3 days a week starting at 9:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
All ages of senior and all degrees of skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I tell people it's chair exercise, they're like, we can do much more than chair exercise. But when they come, it's interesting to watch those people.
Yes.
So that's a lot of fun. In-home services, we want people to know that we have 6 full-time full-time staff and 7 part-time staff, and we've got 202 people that receive services from that program from the year September 1st, 18 until September 1st, 2019. Services are received at a suggested donation rate of $6 per hour,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's a suggested donation. If people can't afford it, they don't have to pay it.
Wow.
Meals on Wheels. We serve approximately, not only serve them or deliver them, we prepare 5,000 meals monthly and deliver to Alpena County. And we all know how big Alpena County is, and we cover the entire county with that. And then going to the back of our sheet, Project Student Entrepreneurs, which is a grant that we received through the Michigan Health Endowment Fund, collaborating with ACES Academy, bringing students into our kitchen, learning how to work in a commercial kitchen. Part of that grant was also our bakery that we talked about a few minutes ago, called the Bread Basket. So that's an ongoing development and management of that bakery, and also the ongoing development and management of our on-site gardening called the Veggie Cart. So that's been an amazing success this past summer, and it's a little bit heartbreaking for me now that it's the end of the season.
It is.
But we sold a lot of lettuce. We're going to be focusing on lettuce next year, and we're going to be doing different types of lettuce. So we're going to
So
be
many different
experimenting.
kinds.
Yes. Make sure next summer that you guys come by and try out our wasabi arugula.
Wow.
That tastes just like wasabi.
Wow.
It's amazing. Also, we've got 2 programs that are critical points. We've recently had to stop our transportation grant because our funds were depleted. So now we've got seniors out in the community that are struggling with getting to doctor's appointments, getting to the hospital, and doing their shopping. So that grant, we had to stop that particular project at the end of September. We'll continue on with it starting January when our grant money is replenished.
Okay, very good. That's an important program.
Absolutely. And med management, we're continuing on with it, but we're trying not to take any more people on because that program has also depleted the funds.
Okay.
And we also want people to know how we get our funding. 70% of our funding comes from federal and state. We've got 30% that we have to fundraise and ask donations for, and as we all know, all those particular funds are being restricted, and we're not getting as much, so of course that 30% goes up and up and up that
Yes.
we have to do, or we have to cut programs.
So ways people can help in our community are to offer sponsorships for programs, donations, and volunteering. Like you said, if the funds are depleted for getting seniors where they need to go, maybe someone could come in and say, hey, you know, I have a good driving record and good transportation. I'd take a few seniors a few times a week to different places they need to go.
And we did that in our exercise class. I let the exercise class know that we were not going to be able to be getting those few seniors that come that we were transporting to our exercise class. Now I've got seniors picking them up.
That's
so
wonderful.
It's amazing how the senior population in Alpena County pulls together and does what it needs to do to help each other, and that's just awesome.
And the congregate meals?
Yes, congregate meals, Monday through Friday. We serve lunch at 11:30 to 12:30 every day but Friday, and of course the weekend we serve dinner, and that's from 5 to 6. That will be changing with daylight savings time. We'll start serving at 4:30 our
Okay.
evening meal.
And if anyone walks in the door, they have to stay because it smells so divine. You have to
does.
check it out.
And it's only $3.50 suggested donation for a senior to come in and eat. If you want to bring a guest that's under the age of 60, it's $7 for that person.
And it's a wonderful meal.
It's a delicious meal.
Okay, so give me an idea of some things people maybe could do as volunteers.
We're always struggling with finding people to sit at our congregate desk, which is the desk that you walk in and seniors ask for change. They put their own money in the donation box, but when they need change, we've got a volunteer that sits there and does that. It's a very consuming time for someone to sit there. Lunch starts at 11:30. People start coming in around 11, so we ask that people who want to work that desk come in at 11. Lunch is over at 12:30. So the only thing you really have to do is talk to people, guide them in the right direction, and give them change if they need change.
Perfect, okay. And I would like to encourage people, if they're not on the mailing list, to get the newsletter that you do. It's a wonderful newsletter. It's full of color, good articles, gives the
Yes.
schedule of what goes on, gives the congregate meal schedule. Just a really nice publication.
Yes, it's a great newsletter, and you can subscribe to that newsletter for only $12 a month, and you get one every month.
Perfect. Okay, what's the best way to reach you?
356-3585. My name is BJ Sander. I'm the program manager at the center, and I'm always available to whatever you might need.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don Newport following. How many years has he been gone? Sorry, he's got to back me up. It's Dr. Don McMaster. Dr. Newport's been gone forever. There's been a couple people in between him even.
Ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning men's basketball coach Mark Jacobs.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And, of course, the men's cross-country coach as well. That's,
Yes.
But we're here to talk about basketball, and how are things looking?
Things are going fantastic. I'm very excited about this team. Very optimistic. If the stars align, we're gonna have a really good season. I've got my type of guys, which, you know, it takes a while, but I've got 13 guys who have bought into, you know, my system. They believe in each other. It's been a really fun month of practice so far, and we you know go a week from Saturday, our first game. So
Wow.
ready to go.
Basketball season already.
Basketball season.
I had to delight in share that I was watching. Well, you and I were talking, and your team was practicing or getting warmed up to practice, and one of your players made 74 free throws in a row. Now that's not bad shooting.
Not bad shooting. And that's going to be our, you know, we've got some really good shooters. And the big thing for this season will be if everybody else plays their role. I've got 4 fantastic shooters. I've got the largest team that ACC's had in a long time. And so we've really got to work on underneath. I've got to get stronger underneath. I've got 8 guys who are 6'4" or taller. And right now my best rebounder is about 6'3".
Oh yeah.
And it's, you know, I always tell guys, you know, rebounding is a will thing, not a skill thing. You know, kind of the Dennis Rodman, you know, rule. If you want the rebound, you can get it. And so I just got to make sure everybody knows their roles. That's my job as a coach. But so far, I really like what I see.
Yeah, wonderful. It's interesting how the game has changed from when you and I were that age. Now the rebounds, because the shots come from so far out, the rebounds bounce long.
Right.
And it's a different skill, but you're right, it's desire. Rebounding is desire and strength.
And again, in junior college, not a lot of kids want to rebound.
Right.
Everybody wants to score. And a kid can really make a name for himself if they want to rebound. And I've got a couple kids who understand ideals, you know, say, what's your job? A rebounding coach. And it's a fun thing to watch. It's a, you know, fun aspect of the game that a lot of kids don't want to do because, again, they want to fire the shots up. And so if you have a kid who's dedicated to rebounding, it's going to really help your team out.
Agreed. You were in a phenomenally difficult league last year. I mean, the teams had freakish talent and very enjoyable games to watch. I mean, a lot of outside shooting, a lot of dunking, very fast pace,
A lot of dunking, yes.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah. As we have improved, so do a lot of teams. You know, Mott has a couple kids who are all-state, but then they just got a recruit from University of Wisconsin who just transferred to Mott, a 6'9" kid from Clarkston. So it's not going to get any easier, but you know what? That's what that's why we play the games. Excited, you know, put some bodies on some people and see what we can do.
You have an event this Monday.
Yes.
And I think it's a wonderful thing. Tell the viewers a little bit about it.
It's Meet the Team, and we both the Alpena Community College women's team and my team from 7 to 8 on Monday night. And we, you know, the community comes in, they get free popcorn and pop and schedules. But again, it's an opportunity for both the community to meet our team and our team to meet the community. Have had great success and great support in the past. It's a lot of fun. We'll do some scrimmaging. We run through some drills. And, you know, with both the men's and women's team, Coach Allen and I kind of oversee it, but they take care of it.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea, getting the students to connect with the community and for the community to connect with the student athletes. It's a binding thing that's very positive.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lot of fun for me. It's just to kind of see how they, go off. And, and again, I always tell them, if I'm not even here, nothing should change. And so they do things right way all the time. I don't have to worry about somebody messing up or screwing around during practice. I mean, it's a very focused, dedicated group. And it's a team, like I said, they get along very well. I've got, I think 7 of them live together, and they basically live in one apartment, one living room. And it's just kind of a fun dynamic to watch and watch these young men grow.
It is, and that is an enjoyable part of the job to you?
Oh, like I said, it's the best part of the job.
It is.
And I've got 4 returning sophomores, and I put a lot of pressure on them. And they understand, what my thinking is, and they've bought into it, so therefore they model that behavior, on a daily basis.
Who are your captains?
I've got 4 sophomores who are my captains. I've got Isaac Hogsett, who is my quarterback. He's my point guard.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of pressure on him because he is my point guard. I've got Logan Gunther, who was all conference last year, double-double. I've got Garrett Miller.
He's your rebounder.
He's a good rebounder. He's a great shooter, too. That's how he got the nickname Butter. And then Tyler Ross, who is not only my #1 man in cross country, but he's a great role model for the basketball team. He'll probably be my backup point guard. So and then I got another sophomore young man named Billy Moran.
Oh yeah.
Who played 3 years ago, and he came back
from Onaway.
And I think last time when he played 3 years ago, he was 6'4" and about 140. Now he's 6'6" and about 190. So, and he's really good leader too. The guys respect him. He works hard. So it'll be, like I said, it'll be a fun season. I'm excited to see how we do on the court.
Yeah, we are excited too. Your vision for what the team is and how it represents the college, and your emphasis on them going to class and succeeding in the classroom, I really appreciate that. I think that is exactly the right approach for kids at this level. We don't have very many of them go on to the pros, but we do want them to succeed in life. Right,
and high character young men and young women, but really go a lot further in life. My dad used to go around and ask coaches, why do you succeed? And he said, we recruit good kids. We don't have to worry about the headaches. We worry about the kids who do the right things all the time, and it makes my job easier. My hair went from bleach blonde about 2 years ago, now I'm pretty gray. But again, every year it gets better, and again, it's just getting the right student athletes to buy into what we're preaching. Make sure they sit in the front row, make sure they go to class, make sure they're engaged and doing their work. And right now, I was telling you earlier this week, out of 13 guys, I've got 10 basketball players have all A's.
Wonderful. Coach, thank you for that. And thank you for everything you do for ACC. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.